Okay. Okay. So this is a job description for an interview. It's a project management position. And this is the day-to-day responsibility for that specific position, okay? So I want to get somebody to read this for me. Who is a volunteer who want to read this and read the introduction before we go through detail? Who want to volunteer on that? Perez, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, can you help me out, please?
Absolutely. You want me to start with the overview?
Yes, please.
Okay. Project management software development overview. Klein Global Payment Operations Technology Team is looking for a technical software development project manager with heavy experience in agile project development and software development lifecycle implementation. Responsibilities. As a technical software development project manager, you'll lead software engineering projects and programs in support of our legal and compliance operations business partners, among others. You will organize and manage business and technical requirements, manage schedules and key milestones, identify and manage risks and dependencies internally and cross-functionally, and clearly communicate with management and project stakeholders on scope, schedule, resourcing, and other project-related updates. Additionally, you will be responsible for managing, organizing, and communicating run the business operations, including multi-team enhancement, bug prioritization, backlog refinement, sprint planning, and go, no-goes. Manage technical programs, defining milestones and success criteria, resource allocation, and successful on-time delivery. Exercise technical judgment in working with large cross-domain teams. Communicate schedules, priorities, and status to all levels in the company. Develop tools and processes to improve software engineering productivity. Work with and manage multiple Scrum teams, supporting a portfolio of projects with potentially parallel and overlapping timelines. Manage run the business operations, including ad hoc and scheduled production releases. Act as a liaison between technical and business teams, and create, manage, and update internal documentation and work tickets.
Okay, minimum qualification.
Minimum qualifications, 4+ years of experience in technical program or project management, release management, and or engineering management, working on software engineering projects. 4+ years of experience in project management, Scrum, Agile methodologies, experience with software development lifecycle in a fast-paced environment. Experience leading technical projects, defining and managing project schedule, coordinating scope, identifying and managing risks and dependencies with cross-domain teams with multiple constraints and assumptions, managing change and communicating with project stakeholders. Experience leading scope, schedule and deployment of new products and features across various global markets. Ability to exercise technical judgment in solving software engineering challenges involving bug triage, source control, continuous integration, etc. Ability to be an influential member of a highly integrated team composed of both technical and non-technical members. And finally, experience in quarterly and annual roadmap planning and resource allocation.
All right, thank you so much, Perez.
You're welcome.
So how are you guys feeling about this job description? You see that this is very technical. But guess what? You can get the job if you know how to approach it. That's a good thing. So there are a lot of keywords because when you take the resume, the job description, you want to look for keywords. Those keywords are the keywords that you want to, even when you are answering the question during the interview, you want to emphasize on those keywords. And if you go through this, the first thing that they are looking here is somebody, actually they are saying this, you will organize and manage business, a technical requirement, manage schedule and key milestone, these are the first, this is really the first keyword. So you want to be able to organize, manage business and technical requirement, manage schedule and key milestone. When it comes to managing business and technical requirement, remember, every product, every software product, you have to first have a requirement. If you're a project manager, either you are the one gathering that requirement or you are the one managing those requirements. Maybe a program or a product manager is gathering the requirement, but you have to be the one taking that requirement into your backlog and manage that requirement. So when they talk about organizing, manage business and technical requirement, it's just saying let's say they will ask you that, how do you manage that? You will say that whenever I gather my requirement, I organize them into a backlog. You can take note though. Usually I always ask you to have something like this. And the person who is having this interview, you can have something, because I cannot go through that, otherwise it will take us forever to get it. But you want to put it here. Those keywords, I can send the keyword back to you after the interview. But those keywords, you want to kind of have story around those keywords. And that is the main thing that you want to do. So the first keyword is gathering requirement. So if you put here requirement gathering, you want to tell them how you gather the requirement. There are many ways you can gather the requirement. Maybe it can be through survey. It can be through one-on-one. It can be through a focus group. Or it can be through what? Let's say discussion. Even chat. Or it can be through a spin review, right? When they give you feedback. Those are few. Now, when you gather the requirement, where do you store that requirement? Requirement. Your requirement is stored in the backlog. Requirement in the backlog. So you let's say requirement management. So you have to have it in your backlog, and then maybe you can say in your Jira backlog. And I just show you guys an example of backlog. These are the requirements, if you can say. So let me go back to the backlog. Let me just go to project A. So let's say that you're gathering the requirement, and those requirements are into your backlog. Remember, these backlog are mapped based on this requirement here. These are your epic. These are your story. And you can even go high level. You can have epic, feature, story. Am I sharing? You look red.
Yeah, I think your screen is frozen. Yeah, now it's sharing.
Yeah. So you see, this is your backlog here. These are your epic. How do you see that? If you go to your roadmap, you see, the good thing is Jira give you the roadmap, and we will see that on the job description. These are the epic. So this specific project have 5 epics. Each epic have a set of story associated in those epic. And those story we also have soft task. So this is your project. You see how you organize it. Now they are saying that you have to be able to organize it this way. So you gather that into the backlog. Let's go back to what else they are saying. They said you also want to manage schedule and key milestone. Okay, Jira have a lot of integrated tools that manage schedule. Last time I asked you to either focus on Clarity timesheet or you can focus on compacts, but you can also see a timesheet tools here if you want to explore. If they have multiple integrated tools, if you put something about timesheet, it can give you an idea. Like you see, timesheet tracker on Jira, you can say that you have that integrated tool. Tempo timesheet, I even have a presentation on this, I can send it over to you. You see, Tempo timesheet and Tempo time tracker, if you add this, for instance, which is a tool that you can start a free session. After that, they will force you to pay, of course. So when you add this to Jira, you go back to your project, you can track your timesheet using these tools. And there are videos that will help you on that. So if you click on this, there's a way down here that gives you some kind of customization where you can configure it. Let me see this one. So here, you can do a lot of things. You can track original estimate, you can track time. That's how you track schedule. You can track time. And that means when the developers start working, you can start seeing their time. And when they stop working, you can, it goes automatically on their project. I can send you some presentation on that. So that you can say that you use Tempo timesheet, Tempo time tracker to track your time. Or you can say that you use Clarity timesheet to track your time. Or you can say that you use Compass to track. Those are names that you can go and search for it. So when you come here, tracking, schedule, and time. So you can say using maybe Clarity or Tempo timesheet, Tempo budget tracker. Okay, so now we go back to our job description. They are talking about tracking milestone. How do we track a milestone? Milestone is, remember, is in terms of, if you go back to our Jira, if we go back to this Jira, let's do some roadmap here. So let's say that this is going to start maybe here. It's going to go from here to here. This is in a milestone. That means this is going to take about, let's say, the whole quarter. Okay, maybe this one, maybe it's going to go from here to here. Maybe this one is going to go, who knows, from here. So this is what they call roadmap. It's telling you that this one is going to start in March and finish in April. So in April, your milestone is to be able to complete this epic. If you don't complete this epic by this specific date, that means you have failed. So your job is to track this. This is a milestone that you are tracking. These have multiple sprints. If you take, for instance, this one if it's 3 months, that means it has at least 6 sprints. If it's 2 weeks, that means every week you want to make sure, every 2 weeks, you want to make sure that at the end of the sprint, that some increment, some value are delivered. And that the collection of all that value is going to help you hit that milestone. So there's no magic. It's very, very practical when you understand this thing. So now, identify and manage risk and dependency. This is your everyday work. You want to identify and manage risk and dependency. So for instance, maybe this specific epic or story, let's take story, have some dependency with other team. So you can even make it here and maybe flag it as a, let's say label it if you want. Maybe you can label it dependency, or you can label it maybe team A. That means this story is dependent to team A completion of the work. So you want to be able to track those dependencies in, so that the issue can be, your story can be completed. You want to track risk as well. Risk could be that maybe you are relying on a vendor for a certain thing, but you are not sure. The risk is that if the vendor doesn't deliver, what will happen? Are you going to mitigate that risk? Are you going to accept the risk? Are you going to avoid the risk? Are you going to own the risk? So you want to know as a Scrum Master, project manager, whatever you are, you want to know this. So, and then they will ask you, if you ask you, how do you manage your risk? I will suggest you to use this following. You say that you use RUM. If you go to RUM, this is an expression for Scale Agile. RUM means this. RUM is management. It means this. So let me open this. Let me take it. So the risk has to be resolved, owned, mitigated, accepted, and or mitigated, right? That is the RUM principle. So you want to identify the risk and you want to plan for that. So when it comes to risk management, sorry, you should go back here. So on the risk, you said that you use RUM methodology. I'm just going to put it smaller. Here, okay. Yeah, and then explain plain. You want to make sure that flag the risk if it's resolved, if it's owned, you will own that risk so that you can track with the person. If it's accepted, what is the consequence if we accept the risk? And if it's mitigated, how can we mitigate? Maybe we can postpone it and find an exception. Maybe we can go with that and then use it as a technical debt and come back to it. That is exactly what they are trying to say here. So this is about that. And then, so you have to manage internally. That means it be within the team or cross-functionally. That means it could happen as outside the team. It could happen, other departments. You are depending on other people to resolve that. And clearly communicate with management and project stakeholder on scope. You see, this is another keyword, communicate the scope. You want to know exactly what it takes to complete that story. Otherwise, you won't know if you are on track or not. So the scope of the work, like I always use the house as an example. Somebody who wants to build a 5-bedroom house, the scope is not the same as somebody who wants to build a 10-bedroom house. And also somebody who wants to build a 5-bedroom house, high-end 5-bedroom house, the scope is not the same as somebody who wants to build maybe very low levels 10-bedroom, but with very low class, very low material quality or whatever it is style. So the scope is the quality. The scope have everything. It incorporate the size, the quality, the duration, all that. That might make a scope. So when you have the scale, you manage the schedule, you manage the resourcing. When they talk about resourcing here, they are talking about even mainly is human resources. How many people are going to be working on this project? And do I hire people offshore? What is the consequence of hiring people offshore? What is the benefit of hiring consultant? Do I hire full-timer consultant, offshore, onshore? How much is the budget on that? Remember, you hire offshore, you save money, but the quality can be at risk. You hire onshore, you might run out the budget of the budget, but you have the right quality, or management is easier because they are onshore, they are on local, they are on in the United States. So you have to understand those words and be able to manipulate when it comes to discussion with the recruiter. And they said, an other project-related update. Additionally, you will be responsible for managing, organizing, and communicating, run the business operation, including multi-team enhancement, bug prioritization, backlog refinement, sprint, blah, 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 go, no go. Go, no go is all about release, okay? It's all about release. Go, no go mean, what is it going to the release? What is not going to the release? What is going to the, what do they call it? Out of circle, out of circle, if they don't make the release window. This is your daily task. This is your daily task. How do you do that? Maybe you have multiple people working on that maybe let's say 2 teams. You have 2 teams working on that. You want to track the bug and prioritize the bug. Maybe one of your team are maintenance team, one on your team are development team. So this could be your story. I'm working with 2 teams, one Kanban team taking care of the maintenance, one Scrum taking care of the development. My Kanban team work on bug tracking, bug maintenance to, like, it could be bug or remediation or whatever it is, and then they work based on the prioritization of that. Your job is to manage refinement, work with your team to refine the backlog. That means estimation, description, acceptance criteria. You maybe assign that to the specific sprint, maybe tag that to the specific component. You want to manage that. You want to also, manage the sprint planning. What is going to the sprint? Those stories going to the sprint, are they meeting the definition of ready? Meaning what? For that to have a definition of ready, it has to have an acceptance criteria. It have to have to meet the invest criteria. That means it have to be independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small enough to fit one sprint, and testable. It has to meet that before it goes to the sprint. So you want to make sure that your story, every story that goes to the sprint, meet that. You don't stop there. You want to monitor the release. Are you doing the release on schedule? That means maybe once a month. Are you doing the continued integration, continued deployment? You can be like, whenever every sprint you deploy something. Or is it your Kanban team are just doing an ongoing release? That means maybe every day they release something. That's what they call microservice or microservices. You want to have that as your story. Any questions so far? I was expecting some question, because this is something you will be facing a lot. And if you don't know how to share this, tell your story this way, they will feel like you don't have the background. But if you master what I'm sharing with you now, the sky is your limit. You will learn multiple offer even. Now, manage technology program, defining milestones, success criteria, resource allocation, and successful on-time delivery. All that we already say here, they are just repeating the same thing here. Exercise technical judgment in working with large cross-domain teams. Because here you have to be asking a lot of questions like, hey, if I have a dependency, how soon can they give me that, deliver that piece of software so that my team can keep working on this? You want to anticipate and see things far before it comes. Identify risks before it comes. Communicate schedule, priority, and status to all open level management. Then we ask you, what are the artifacts when it comes to status report? What are your artifacts? Whenever they talk about artifacts, they are talking about deliverable. What do you go every day, every week, or every 2 weeks? What do you offer them? What do you deliver in your PowerPoint? It could be that you are telling them about where you stand in terms of budget, where you stand in terms of the number of stories that your team committed to. So let me write it down a little bit here. So artifact for status reporting. So it could be number of story committed or deliver or completed, let's say it this way, completed. Maybe number of component release to production. Maybe you want to also tell them number of story point completed, your velocity. Maybe you want to tell them about what? About maybe budget. Where do you stand when it comes to budget at this specific moment? How much money have you spent this month? You can also talk about resources, maybe risk. You want to identify risk, maybe by telling them that, hey, at this point, we just lost one of our active team member and we are facing the risk, we are running the risk of delivering this project because we just lost one team member. You want to call out those kind of things. Those is what they call artifacts, right? Those are artifacts. You want to report that so that the management know where to stand. Now, let's go back here. Develop tools and processes to improve software engineering productivities. It's your job to think of anything that facilitates the team. For instance, maybe you are using Murable to develop, to track your milestone so that maybe during the planning, you can easily interact. Maybe you are using Murable. There's difference between Mural and Miro. Maybe you are leveraging some maybe SharePoint website where you are building, sharing things to your team, motivate them, or giving them a place to store all their documentation. There are a lot of tools that you want to build and facilitate by making sure that they can have access, they can save time. Maybe if they have to click so many folders to be able to access their own folder, what if you bring that link from that folder and create a SharePoint and link that right there? So when they go to one single place, they can have access to all their folder. Just be creative. All that, those are stories. You can use this to say that, hey, I help my team increase efficiency because I have team site where I store key documentation and key link for my team so that they go to one single place to be able to access whatever they need. That help them save more than 50% of their time of their development time, because I realized that they were spending a lot of time searching around. It's a good point. You are increasing your efficiency. You are increasing value. You are bringing value to your team. I work with and manage multiple Scrum team, supporting a portfolio of projects with potentially parallel and overlapping timeline. Because sometimes you don't work for one project, you have multiple projects going on at the same time, and release there is kind of conflict of schedule. How do you manage all that and come up with a result? You have to have that, you have to process a lot, right? But you also have to be very, very much organized. Those are keywords. Manage, run the business operation, including ad hoc and schedule production release. This is very important. Release schedule. Is he on schedule, or is he like randomly? You want to make sure that you have that. Act as a liaison between technical and business team. Remember, you are talking to your developer, they are technical people. You are also talking to your business or your stakeholder, they are business people. They are thinking of, all they are thinking is all about return of investment. How do you communicate with them and communicate with your business, your technical people? and make sure that they both understand what you are saying. So the way you present something to your business is different from the way you present it to the technical person. That is one of your skills. Create, manage, and update internal documentation and work ticket. This is another important thing. How do you create, manage? I talked to you about SharePoint. Maybe or team site where they store all their documentation in the very single site. Maybe you bring it to SharePoint if you want. And work ticket. Remember, you always say that you manage your work ticket using ServiceNow. Using ServiceNow, because ServiceNow is very appropriate in managing all those tickets and incident management and all those maybe access management. So you can say that you leverage ServiceNow to do that. Any questions?
What about Confluence? Is it the same thing? Is it working like SharePoint?
Yeah, definitely. Confluence is associated with Jira. So you can say that you leverage Confluence, which I can tell you, Confluence is not a very user-friendly when it comes to building a website on Confluence. You have to customize a lot. I use Confluence as well, but I love SharePoint more. Confluence is not easy, but it's good because if you are using Jira, Confluence is your friend. You must master Confluence. If you are using Team, SharePoint is your friend because Team and SharePoint belong to Microsoft. Jira and Confluence belong to a company called Atlassian, right? So you have to know that if they are using Jira, just speak about Confluence and Jira. If you are using Team, then talk about Azure DevOps, SharePoint, they will like it because those are the things that they're using. So you don't be steady because sometimes I don't understand. Some people say, oh, Majority, I'm being applying and nobody's calling me. I'm like, I don't understand. Your resume is an adapt. You have to adapt your resume to the need. You cannot just put the resume, keep sharing your resume everywhere. You want to put some keyword. Take some time, go to the job description like this one. And these are the one that I highlighted here. Make sure that you have it on your resume. I do this, I deliver this across dependency, I track dependency, I manage update, I provide status reporting. Your resume must always be updated to accommodate those kind of things. This is what we are talking about. And then whenever you are doing the interview, if you see that this is very much project management oriented, speak project management. Don't speak too much Scrum. They're not going to hire you just because you know how to handle ceremony. Ceremony is just like 1%. You have to do more than that. You have to track. You have to build roadmap, quarterly planning, status report every week. Maybe communicating with the stakeholder, tracking metric, maybe your burn down chart, your velocity chart, making sure that you do, you remove impediment from your team. Those are the things that they are looking for you to do. So this is what is going to happen for this one. Any question? How confident are you? Are you worried? Are you confident? I want to go through a confident vote right now. How confident, if you go from the scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to call name now. How BC, how confident are you from the scale from 1 to 10? How confident are you when it comes to this kind of job? Maybe his microphone is not working. Beatrice, how confident are you? Do you think you can learn this and be able to speak that way? So all my people are not answering. Diana, are you there? I'm just going down the list.
Yes, I am.
How confident are you? Just from the scale from 1 to 10, where do you see yourself right now? If we come to learn this scale.
I would go with 7. 7 over 10.
7, that's good. So if you are 7, you can push to 10 or to 9.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Genial. How confident are you? Okay, let me go down. Ghislaine, how confident are you when it comes to this job?
8, Mama Georgette.
Very good. You're my girl. You've been going through some job like this, so I trust you. Law. Do you think you can learn this and be able to answer that confidently? Let's go to Olive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of project management interviews, so I kind of mastered some stuff.
That's good. So will you put yourself 9?
Yeah. I missed one interview the last time because I didn't know the what Java was used for.
Oh,
So,
Java
yeah, but I know that it's we use that to
programming
build
language. Mhm.
programming language.
You
build
see
the
how
web
the
applications.
like you cannot cover everything. And that means that recruiter, he was maybe a developer coming to be manager. Now he's hiring it. You see, that's why when they send you the LinkedIn of those guys, try to go and check their LinkedIn, because if it's a technical guy like a developer, he will ask you a lot of technical questions. If it's a QA guy, he will ask you a lot of QA questions. If it's a Scrum guy or Agile guy, he will ask you many things about Agile. So when you look at their LinkedIn, prepare yourself, accordingly. It's a secret, trust me, because those guys, it really depends on their mood and their background. They will come and ask you. Very few companies will have a standardized test that ask you a few questions, but most of them, they don't come prepared. They just ask maybe a follow-up question based on your resume or based on your current answer. They just keep asking. So Pere, how confident are you regarding this job, this type of role?
I'm pretty confident. I mean, to me, and how I perceive it, it seems like it's straightforward. Just understanding the tools and how to correlate the tools to the language. But yeah, I would say 8 or 9.
Yeah. Anyway, you're already a manager. You understand what it means. You hire people, so it's
Yeah.
easier for you. You can. It's easier when you're already in the shoes of. You can know what to expect from a candidate. Then as a
Yeah,
candidate, you know
exactly.
exactly how to do it. So actually, this is what it means. It's an ongoing exercise. You don't stop learning. You discover every day. But if we keep learning, we will surely get there. We will all surely get there. All right. So this is what I have for you tonight. And thanks again for connecting, and hopefully it brought some value to you today.
Yes, it did. Thank you for the information, Mama Georgia. Thank you.
Sure. So have a blessed evening and bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Good
Bye
night.
bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.